Back in the day, a game would come out, whether it was finished or not. And games, most usually, are designed by works of people. They're collaborative efforts and they take years to complete. Back in the day, they would sometimes ship with bugs, and maybe they ruin the user experience, which is horrible. But occasionally, games would come out with bugs that enhance gameplay, add technical depth, or even just create humor. Now, these moments might take you out of the world. I'm all for immersion, but every once in a while, it's good to take a step out of the game that you're sucked into and realize that you're playing something that other people cared about, that other people put time into, and maybe they didn't develop perfectly. As time has gone on, even some of the most critically acclaimed games ever have been destroyed thoroughly. Like, so thoroughly, you can create Flappy Bird inside the game you're playing. Shout out Seth. These moments of friction serve as investment points for the gamers. They're little opportunities where someone can take a look deeper at a game, at the way it works, and seeing something like someone sequence breaking Mario 64 is a great jumping off point for someone to learn a lot more about games and about the game that they love so much. Now sure, problematic game launches where people don't get what they're promised was bad, but there are plenty of times where glitches are responsible for communities existing in games that otherwise wouldn't care about them. You can think about things like the speedrunning community, or even something like competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee. This stuff wouldn't exist if it wasn't for some of the, let's just say, backwards design principles. Now, as gaming's grown, the money gone into developing games has grown as well, and this resulted in game dev going from a collaborative effort that was the result of passionate people's years of hard work to something that I will call game dev by committee. They know what they want from a functional perspective, but the people who actually have the talent, maybe because of time crunch, a lack of willingness to stray from the vision of the people who can fire them, or just something else completely, they kind of stagnate. Devs don't have as much room to experiment and come up with new, innovative ideas. And why is this? It's because gaming is big. Gaming is big money. There are a lot of financial interests, and they want to recoup their investments. That's all they really care about. Art be damned. Making a good product be damned. They want a third-person open-world action shooter, so you give them exactly what they asked for. With the downside being that maybe there was some cool idea that a dev who wasn't overworked could throw in there. And maybe the game would actually work on launch instead of being bug-ridden and unplayable until a day one patch comes out. Now, I said big money is interested in the games industry, but what I really mean is big business is interested in the game industry. Games are financial assets for the publishers and developers, and as a result, the line has shifted. It's no longer about making a cool game. It's now about making a fuck ton of money. We're not gamers anymore. We're customers. The goal isn't to create an immersive gaming experience that sucks you into a world and makes you feel something. Whether it's powerful, whether it's sadness, whether it's just like you had a really fun arcadey style experience. Instead, the goal is to create an experience so immersive that you spend all your time on one game. And they're gonna shove tons of dark design and gambling-esque microtransaction features into their games. You're supposed to be captive, not amazed. You're not supposed to be so mystified. You are supposed to be turned into a sucker so that you can be separated from your dollars easier. And as a result of the online digital distribution methods, especially for game updates, there are a lot of times where the speedrunning communities have to find workarounds just to use different patches of games. Because when a game comes out, it's not the same game on launch day that it is 6 months later. You can't find these cracks in the worlds that you're in if you can find a good world to be in as it is. They get patched very quickly, and they continue on to be a perfect execution of what the people who developed them want them to be. Sure, there were imperfections in old games, and maybe if you're Nintendo, you want to fix that and brush it under the rug as deep in there as you possibly can. But these imperfections blossomed amazing communities and gave a lot of people opportunities to learn about things like assembly programming. I haven't talked the most positively on this channel about my computer engineering degree, but I probably wouldn't have pursued it if I didn't spend hours and hours watching people do TASes on Mario 64 and watching videos of people breaking down how the N64 actually works from a hardware perspective. These things were the gateway into technology for me, and I think that they're also the most fun corners of the gaming community, where the real nerds hang out. As gaming has gotten bigger, it's become mainstream. And this mainstreamness has sort of homogenized the industry. Now, gaming being bigger is great if you make the games, or rather, if you make money off the games, but the result of gaming getting bigger is that budgets have to get bigger, the scope of your game has to get bigger, and this is all why they're so incentivized to recoup on those investments, offer less innovation, and why we get tons of re-releases, remakes, and remasters, because the industry already knows that those will be successful. And it's something of a shame. Now, it's not all bad for modern gaming. At least we have the indie scene, and they still pump out creative and visionary works on what seems like a quarterly basis. But even then, do you find yourself playing a lot of indie games? Now, I try my best. I want to be hip to the new games and what's coming out, and I don't think I'm alone in this. I find myself gravitating toward the same 4 or 5 franchise games just over and over and over again. And even if I know that there are new Balatros out there just waiting to be discovered, it's not enough to pull me off of Fortnite or League of Legends or whatever other game that you have sucked all of your time into. I don't know, maybe the title is a bit of hyperbole. I think that it's not because of woke, and it's not because of any other stupid reason you can point to. It's just the virtue of games becoming so big that corporate interests take control. Anyway, I'll see you guys next Monday.